After a sleepless night on Virgin Australia from Bali to Sydney and a great half-day stroll through Sydney, we are now flying Air New Zealand in their pretty cool economy class to one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Hello my dear ones, today to a very special flight report, and that's economy class of Air New Zealand from Sydney to Christchurch. And that's quite special because normally you see mostly business and first class reports on airlines worldwide on my channel because there's just so much more to talk about. However, I do enjoy flying economy class and also low cost sometimes, and today is very special for me because I always wanted to fly Air New Zealand and today is the day. So come with me on Air New Zealand in 3 hours from Sydney to Christchurch on the southern island of New Zealand. Our journey begins in Sydney with checking in the luggage and walking through the duty-free area past kangaroo and lambskins and the usual odds and ends shops of always the same luxury brands worldwide, further with a view of the apron directly to the House Lounge, which grants access to priority pass holders. This is one of the nicer priority pass lounges in the world, and when I visited it was almost deserted. There was a buffet with cold and warm dishes, non-alcoholic drinks and Australian wines, and a nice look at an ANA Dreamliner. For a surcharge you can also use their showers, and you can choose a la carte dishes and premium spirits. But I have to say, it makes a big difference to have a priority pass, especially when flying economy or low-cost carriers. It's so much nicer to have this half hour or hour before the flight in a nice, quiet atmosphere with some nice drinks and something to eat. And of course you can purchase that just in the airport. But of course it will always be overpriced and mostly not good quality. And I mean, here you even have a nice view. However, there's still quite a lot of priority pass lounges in the world that are still closed, and they say it's due to COVID reasons to protect each other. But I think it's rather the only reason is that they want to save money. I'm just saying that now, but I think I'm pretty right in that.
Chucky set out to visit the guardians of this world.
So here I am on my window seat. I was one of the last boarding. I took a little too long in the lounge.
Well, I guess we'll just eat less food.
Anyway, this seat looks quite nice actually, in its black faux leather and these nice headrests here that you can adjust a little. And every seat has an in-seat monitor, and you have USB slots and also a USB-C slot. Anyway, they're closing the doors now and we're gonna take off in a moment. The flight time from Sydney to Christchurch is just under 3 hours, and most of that is over the Tasman Sea before starting the approach above the Southern Alps into Christchurch. The entertainment program at Air New Zealand is pretty good, with numerous films and TV series, as well as a music library. But above all, I think it's really nice and actually appropriate for our decade that screens are installed in the backrests of smaller aircraft too. One highlight is the flight show because it's interactive and shows detailed information on all of the airline's destinations. There's even a world map for kids, and that I'll show later during the flight. By the way, you're not allowed to bring any agricultural products into New Zealand, and my luggage was examined very carefully. And since I came from Bali on the same day where foot and mouth disease is currently rampant, even my shoes in my luggage were completely disinfected and returned wet in plastic bags. Sydney is also ideal for a stopover because the city centre can be reached from the airport in just 20 minutes, and you can easily walk through the historic centre down to the famous opera house within half a day. In a few hours you can see most of the highlights, a really nice experience between two flights, and more on that in a separate report.
Well, now I'm really taken aback. I was so wrong that there's only entertainment on board. No, there's a whole big service here on board, this 2.5 hours long flight. I'm really very surprised. I mean, there was a choice now of 3 main dishes, and that was chicken, beef. I took beef, that was beef rendang, or a vegetarian option. And then for the drinks, it didn't have just water or soft drinks. No, they even have wines, and you could even choose which kind of wine you would like, even which kind of white wine, which kind of red wine. So this is really quite positively shocking. In Europe we have only Turkish Airlines that has a similarly good service in economy class. All the other airlines serve basically a sandwich and water if they serve anything. So actually worldwide economy class passengers are not treated well anymore when it comes to service on shorter flights. And I mean, you know, these tickets are not for free. We must always think that we are not flying for free, and I think we also deserve a good service and also some food or drinks maybe when you're flying on economy. But now that everybody's eating and the flight is fully booked, of course the COVID risk is rising by at least 20 times. So even though I was in the lounge and even though I ate at the lounge, of course I ate everything here as well. And the beef rendang was actually really good, and with it came this bread roll with this cannery squeeze. That's a mix of butter and margarine or sunflower oil and some salt, but that was actually unfortunately really good, and the brownie was just very sweet, but it was okay. That's just like they do it here. However, the white wine was really not nice, but I think that was just my wrong choice, because actually New Zealand is a real good wine country. Have a look at my Oman Air Dreamliner business class review from Muscat to Paris in their Apex suite. There they had a really fantastic New Zealand white wine. That was a white wine called Nautilus, a Sauvignon Blanc, and that was fantastic. Anyway, I would say this kind of service is really impressive.
Also, the toilets are worth mentioning. They are of course tiny, but also very original, with wall decorations of New Zealand's butterflies, or you sit on a throne surrounded by chandeliers. During our approach, I noticed something about the engine that I had not seen before, but you see, I survived, otherwise this report would not exist, and neither would the following impressions of my 5-day crazy trip to both southern and northern New Zealand, which I'll present in a separate report. But how was the flight with Air New Zealand? First of all, it's just so nice that there's also service on small planes on all their international routes. On domestic routes, by the way, you'll get just water. The full entertainment program with headphones directly at the seat is also really nice. Also here, the headphones are only available on international flights. Service was friendly, the aircraft cabin was in top condition, and the toilet wallpaper was quite original. So overall, it's a recommendation, just as the short visit to New Zealand was really impressive. And here we are in Christchurch. At least there was nothing seriously wrong with the engine, because 2 days later I flew on the same plane to Auckland with incredible impressions in my luggage, and more on that in an extra video.
So my dear ones, we arrived in Christchurch. I hope you really enjoyed this report about Air New Zealand economy class from Sydney to Christchurch. And if yes, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. There's really great reports coming up about airlines and destinations worldwide. So stay tuned and see you again very soon here at Travel Sing fly.